All right, get ready, because today we're going deep on self-control with Ron W Rathbun.
Okay.
And yeah, it was, we like to pick some interesting people, and this one, he's got some ideas that go way beyond, just the typical willpower thing. Like, get this, he connects self-control to how we react when somebody else tries to control us.
Oh, wow.
And even to just like our primal urge to just escape pain.
Hmm.
He even sees sleep as a way our minds are trying to control things.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so if you've ever felt like, your behaviors were just kind of running on autopilot,
Right.
or like you're constantly battling for control, well, this deep dive might help you understand why.
I like that. What I find so fascinating about Rathbun's perspective is that he kind of flips the script on how we usually think about self-control.
Yeah.
Like we tend to focus on, mastering our impulses, right?
Right.
But he's suggesting that our need to control everything,
Oh, yeah.
or conversely, our fear of being controlled can totally sabotage us.
It's like we're stuck in this tug of war.
Yes.
Between wanting to be in charge and then feeling totally overwhelmed.
Exactly.
And he calls this is interesting, the double-edged sword of control.
Yeah. He says that both extremes, so desperately seeking control or feeling completely out of control, can actually be rooted in the same problem.
Huh.
And it triggers those primal instincts.
Oh, okay.
Like when someone's trying to box us in, we instinctively want to break free.
Oh, I totally relate to that.
Yeah.
Like, have you ever had somebody try to, dictate your choices?
Oh, yeah.
Like at work or even in a relationship, like just that feeling of don't tell me what to do?
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's almost visceral.
It is. It is. And Rathbun's point is that, these reactions aren't always logical.
Yeah, right.
Like our ego just kicks in and says, hey, this person is trying to control me, even if it's not a real threat.
Right, right. So what does he say we should do about it? I mean, shouldn't we be using, our intellect and logic to sort through these feelings?
Well, that's where it gets interesting, because he argues that our ego and intellect actually aren't the best tools for dealing with these deeper control issues.
Really?
Yeah. It's like, think of it this way. It's like trying to put out a fire with gasoline.
Okay.
Our ego wants to fight back. Our intellect tries to rationalize everything. But neither of those approaches actually address the root cause.
So if our go-to tools aren't the answer, then what is?
Well, Rathbun suggests that there's a third part of our mind.
Okay.
Like a deeper level of awareness that holds the key to breaking free from this whole control drama.
Okay.
It's the part that observes, understands, and doesn't get caught in the ego's trap.
I see.
Imagine like you're caught in a swirling current of thoughts and emotions.
Okay, yeah.
But there's a part of you that's standing on the riverbank, calmly observing the chaos. That's the third part.
Yeah, that's a really helpful image. But how do we access that observer?
Yeah.
That part of ourselves?
Well, hold on to that question, because that leads us directly into Rathbun's exploration of something called Kelee Meditation.
Okay.
Which he says helped him tap into that deeper level of awareness.
Okay, so we'll get to that.
Yes, but before we get there, there's another piece of the puzzle we need to explore.
Okay.
Rathbun's idea that avoiding pain can secretly control us.
Okay, I have to admit, when I first read that, I thought, well, duh. Isn't that just human nature?
Right.
But Rathbun seems to be saying that it's a little more insidious than that.
It is. He's saying that this primal urge to avoid pain can manifest in ways we don't even realize.
Okay.
It creates these, compartments in our minds.
Okay.
Almost like these mental silos where we bury uncomfortable feelings and develop coping mechanisms that might seem totally out of our control.
So is he saying, those late-night snack binges or those endless hours scrolling social media, that could actually be our mind's way of trying to escape some deeper pain?
That's exactly what he's suggesting, yeah. Think about it. Do you find yourself procrastinating when you're faced with a challenging task?
Oh, yeah.
That could be a compartment at work, protecting you from the fear of failure. Or maybe you overspend when you're feeling stressed. That could be a compartment shielding you from difficult emotions.
Wow, that's a really different way of thinking about those behaviors.
Yeah.
So it's not just about willpower, it's about understanding the underlying reasons driving our actions.
Exactly.
And I think this is where Rathbun's personal story about sleep comes in, right?
Yes.
Where he talks about using sleep to escape a difficult environment.
Yes. He shares this very relatable experience of wanting to just sleep away his problems.
Yeah.
I think a lot of us can relate to that, right?
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Who hasn't wanted to pull the covers over their head and just shut out the world when things get tough?
I know I have, but Rathbun realized that, sleep was just a temporary escape.
Right.
And it wasn't actually addressing the root cause of his problems.
Exactly. And that's what ultimately led him to explore Kelee Meditation as a way to confront those deeper issues head on.
Uh-huh.
He describes how this practice helped him understand and dissolve those mental compartments,
Wow.
freeing him from the need to escape through sleep or any other coping mechanism.
So imagine this. Understanding the why behind your behaviors and finally breaking free from those patterns.
Yeah, that's powerful.
That's powerful stuff.
It is.
And it makes me think of what Rathbun says about living through your own mind.
Yes, he has this incredible quote.
Yeah.
He says, until you're centered in yourself, you're not being yourself. And if you're not being yourself, you're not living your life.
Okay, we need to unpack that one. What exactly does he mean by living through your own mind? It sounds pretty profound.
Yeah.
Pretty deep.
It is. He's drawing a distinction between truly understanding yourself and simply going through the motions of life based on what other people expect of you. It's about aligning your actions with your own values and desires, rather than being controlled by external pressures or the need to please others.
So it's like, instead of just reacting to the world around us, we're consciously choosing how we want to show up and engage with it.
That's a great way to put it. And this idea ties directly into another important point Rathbun makes about speaking your mind.
Right.
He says that it can actually be two very different things.
Okay.
A reactive outburst or a clear, thoughtful communication.
I think we've all been there, those moments when we just blurt something out,
Right.
just to get a reaction or defend ourselves.
Yeah.
Later, we're like, ugh, why did I say that?
Exactly. And that's speaking from a place of ego, from those mental compartments we talked about earlier.
Okay.
It's not true self-expression. It's just a reaction.
Yeah, but Rathbun is suggesting there's another way, right?
Yes.
A way to speak our minds from a place of genuine understanding and clarity.
Precisely.
Yeah.
He challenges us to become aware of our motivations when we speak.
Okay.
Are we trying to control the situation,
Right.
get someone to agree with us, or are we genuinely trying to express ourselves authentically?
That's a really helpful distinction, but honestly, I mean, that sounds a lot easier said than done, right?
Right.
How do we learn to speak from that place of understanding, especially when we're, in the heat of the moment?
Yeah, well, this is where Rathbun offers a surprising perspective.
Okay.
He suggests that doubt can actually be valuable in this process.
Wait, doubt, as in being unsure of ourselves?
Yeah, think about it.
Okay.
Doubt is a sign that we don't have all the answers.
Okay.
It's a sign that we're willing to question our assumptions and consider other perspectives.
So instead of clinging to like rigid beliefs,
Right.
we're actually acknowledging that there might be more to the story.
Exactly. And that humility, that willingness to admit what we don't know, could be incredibly disarming in communication.
Oh, yeah.
It allows for genuine dialogue and connection.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And I think this ties back to what Rathbun says about defining our own identity.
Yes.
Right? He has a pretty strong stance on this, saying we should never let anyone else tell us who we are.
He calls it mental intimidation, when someone tries to define us in a way that feels wrong.
Yeah.
And so often we fall into the trap of believing those external definitions, especially if we haven't taken the time to understand ourselves on a deeper level.
Yeah, I think we've all had those experiences where, somebody, maybe a parent, a teacher, or even a partner, tries to put us in a box that just doesn't fit,
Oh, absolutely.
And it can be so incredibly frustrating and disempowering.
It is. And that's why, Rathbun emphasizes the importance of turning inward, of using practices like Kelee Meditation to connect with ourselves.
Okay.
It's about discovering who we are beyond the labels and expectations that others might try to impose on us.
So, okay, let's say we're in a situation where someone is trying to control us, to impose their will on us.
Yeah.
Rathbun gives us three options, right? React, comply, or do nothing.
Yes.
And he seems particularly intrigued by this idea of doing nothing.
Yes.
Which honestly sounds a little counterintuitive.
It does sound passive, right? But Rathbun's point is that both reacting and complying actually give the other person power over us.
Oh, okay.
Reacting feeds their need for control, while complying just reinforces the pattern of letting them dictate our actions.
So by doing nothing, we're actually taking back our power.
Exactly. It's not about being passive or submissive.
Right.
It's about consciously choosing to disengage from the control dynamic.
Okay.
It's about creating space for ourselves to respond thoughtfully rather than just reacting impulsively.
Okay, yeah, I'm starting to see how this could be incredibly powerful.
Yeah.
But I have to admit, I'm I'm struggling to imagine what doing nothing actually looks like in real life.
Sure, sure.
Could you maybe give me an example?
Sure, let's say you have a coworker who's constantly trying to micromanage your work.
Okay.
Every time they try to dictate your every move, instead of getting defensive or immediately giving in, you simply acknowledge their input without engaging in a power struggle. You might say something like, "Thanks for your perspective, I'll take that into consideration."
Okay.
And then continue working in a way that aligns with your own understanding of the task.
So it's about staying calm, asserting our boundaries,
Yes.
but without escalating the situation.
Exactly. And this is where that third part of the mind comes in,
Yeah.
the observer.
Right.
The part of us that can see the situation clearly without getting swept up in emotional reactivity.
That makes a lot of sense, and ultimately it seems like Rathbun is saying that true self-control comes from understanding our own minds, not from trying to force ourselves to conform to external pressures or to escape pain.
Absolutely. He reminds us that the mind is the realm of reality, not who you believe you are or who you think you are. The mind is the realm of reality of who you really are.
It's like he's saying that the key to freedom lies within ourselves, not in trying to change the world around us.
Right.
And that self-knowledge is the foundation of true self-control.
That's a powerful takeaway.
Yeah.
And it makes me think about all the ways we try to control things outside ourselves. Our jobs, our relationships, even our own bodies.
Right.
When the real power lies in understanding and mastering our own minds.
Yeah, and it sounds like Kelee Meditation might be a valuable tool for that journey.
It definitely seems that way, yeah.
Yeah, Rathbun repeatedly points to it as a path to greater self-awareness, to dissolving those mental compartments and ultimately to achieving true freedom.
And that's precisely what we'll be exploring in the final part of our deep dive.
Okay.
We'll delve into what Kelee Meditation is all about, how it works, and how it can help us unlock those deeper levels of self-control and authenticity.
This has been an incredible journey so far. Rathbun's ideas are so thought-provoking.
Yeah, they are.
And they've really challenged me to think about self-control in a completely new light. It's not about willpower, it's about understanding the deeper forces that are shaping our thoughts and behaviors.
Right, exactly.
So we've talked about Rathbun's fascinating ideas on self-control, external control, and even like our mind's ways of protecting us from pain.
Right.
But the big question is like, how do we actually put these ideas into practice?
Yeah, that's the question.
And that's where Kelee Meditation comes in, right?
That's right. Rathbun, he keeps coming back to Kelee Meditation as this, powerful tool for self-discovery and transformation. But what's interesting is that he doesn't, really get bogged down in the specifics of like how to do it in these notes.
Okay.
It's more about highlighting the results that he experienced. Like dissolving those mental compartments, breaking free from the need to escape, and finally living through his own mind. That's what I find so compelling about it. It's like he's saying, look, the real magic happens when you just commit to the process of inner exploration and you open yourself up to the possibility of profound change.
I'm definitely intrigued, but I'm still curious about like what actually happens during Kelee meditation. I mean, what did Rathbun experience that led to these breakthroughs?
Well, based on what he's hinting at, it seems to involve a really deep dive into our own minds.
Okay.
A process of kind of quieting the mental chatter and becoming aware of those unconscious patterns and beliefs that are really driving our behavior. It's about shining a light on those hidden parts of ourselves, the good, the bad, the ugly.
Yeah.
And understanding how they're influencing our thoughts, our emotions, our actions.
It's almost like exploring those underwater caves where, all the secrets are hidden. We might find some creatures lurking in the shadows.
Yeah.
But we might also uncover some incredible treasures.
I love that analogy. And just like exploring a cave, Kelee meditation, it requires courage and a willingness to face, what we might find. But the rewards can be extraordinary,
Yeah.
Self-knowledge, freedom, and a deeper connection to our authentic selves.
So if I'm understanding this right, Rathbun is saying that Kelee meditation helps us dismantle those mental compartments that we talked about earlier, those patterns of avoidance and control that kind of keep us stuck in those, unhealthy behaviors.
That's exactly it. By bringing those unconscious patterns to the surface, we can start to understand them, challenge them, and ultimately choose that we want to respond rather than, just reacting automatically. It's about reclaiming our power and making choices that that align with our true values.
This whole deep dive has been a real eye-opener. It's made me realize that self-control isn't just about, willpower.
Right?
It's about understanding the deeper forces that are shaping our thoughts and behaviors. It's about becoming aware of those unconscious control mechanisms, both within ourselves and in the world around us.
Right.
And it's about finding the courage to break free and live a life that's true to who we really are.
Couldn't agree more. Rathbun's ideas are so empowering because they shift the focus from external control to internal mastery. It's not about trying to force ourselves to fit into some mold. It's about discovering who we are at our core and living in alignment with that truth.
And Kelee Meditation seems to be like a powerful tool for embarking on that, journey of self-discovery.
Yes.
While Rathbun didn't give us a step-by-step guide in these notes, he's definitely sparked my curiosity. Maybe we'll have to do a future deep dive into Kelee Meditation itself and explore its principles and practice in more detail.
Oh, I'd love that. There's so much more to uncover, but for now, I think the biggest takeaway is this. True self-control starts with understanding ourselves, our motivations, our fears, our patterns. It's about becoming aware of the ways we try to control, avoid, or escape.
Right.
And finding a path to freedom through self-awareness and conscious choice.
That's such a powerful message. And I think it leaves us with some, important questions to ponder. What unconscious controls might be influencing your behaviors? How can you start living more through your own mind, making choices that align with your values and aspirations? And could Kelee Meditation be a path worth exploring on your own journey to greater self-control and authenticity?
Those are great questions to explore. And remember, this journey of self-discovery never ends. Keep diving deep, keep questioning, and keep exploring the vast and fascinating landscape of your own mind.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. We'll see you next time for another adventure in knowledge and exploration. Until then, keep those minds curious and stay true to yourselves.